Welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. You all know my co-host, John. Welcome back. Glad you're not sick anymore.
Thanks. Good to be back.
And Wade wanted to be in this because Wade goes to a lot of researching and does a lot for the vets. And part of research is that he's a part of them. He lets them, study his body.
Modified lab rat, brother.
And
Love the way you put that. Study his body. That just sounds wrong, but okay.
that did sound wrong, didn't it? Okay, he's a lab rat. Is that better?
Oh yeah.
No. He participates in clinical research.
That's right.
There you
And
go.
so
That's
tonight we have Jimmy Arocho, and I want everybody to know he's been on the podcast before in the earlier stages when we first started out. How you doing, bud?
I am good. Thank you, sir. Thank you kindly.
And I have all three Army guys here, and I'm just really, really glad that, I can have the Army again, even though they beat the Navy. Won't happen next year. Okay, so
okay.
So tonight we're going to get into clinical research, but before that, I want to give everybody some news. March 4th, write this down. On March 4th of this year, on a Monday at 4:00 p.m., y'all are all going to want to tune in live because we will be doing a podcast at a location in Conroe with a company that has products that should be inside the VA. And I'm not kidding y'all. These are products that are nothing like I have ever seen, even though I have watched them and, they showed it. It will help with PTSD. It will help with all sorts of go for problems, and not just go for, but I mean all veterans, all around. And Jimmy knows what I'm talking about because Jimmy also talked with them, and
Yep.
and it's really good. And the company name, everybody, is Ergo Flex. Okay, and so they're going to be on. It's going to be a 2-hour episode. I know that it's a long episode, but it will be well worth it because they're going to demonstrate live on the program how the products work. And this will blow your mind and everything. Well, get back to the program. Jimmy, let's talk about y'all's research of what y'all are doing.
Okay. I did want to ride your coattails a little bit with ErgoFlex. I did talk with those folks. Super motivated. I really enjoy their motivation to get their products, their hardware into the VA. I was actually so excited and so moved by the message that I also gave them the tool set to also take that to the DoD, so Department of Defense, clinical research as well. So remember, there's a reciprocal side or another side to the research, not just Veterans Administration research, which exists and those guys have their successes, but the DoD, that congressionally directed medical research program that I mentioned, and their funding, that's a little bit more work. There's a lot more mechanics, but the way it works with the DoD is they would have to propose a research plan and submit it, and these same reviewers would review that product, and if awarded, they could receive money, they could enter into clinical trials, they could bring us Persian Gulf War veterans in and have us run through and give our opinions, and then it's at the end of the year they evaluate it for the potential of being out there in the world. So I mean, if they could catch both, at some point the VA and the DoD will merge, but at this point these two organizations, VA, DoD, they're separate, extremely separate. They both get their opportunities to run with it. So I'm excited. Thank you for that introduction. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I'm really excited about it because this is something that the products that they have. I don't want to spill the beans what they are.
Yeah, it's too good. Yeah.
It is. I have seen the product work. I have seen it in motion. I have been talking with Ergo for a while, and they need to be in every clinic for anybody with back pains. I mean, knee pains. I mean, you talking about chronic fatigue, you talk about neuropathy, everything. And this right here, I believe they will have the fix. For most of us, I it will it be 100%. I don't know. Will it definitely help us? I believe it will help us, but I think it's one of the best products that the VA could use to help every veteran out there. At least give them, if they, all of us say, if you could get 10%, 20%, 50% of your life back, this is what y'all gonna have to watch. And we will have a doctor on. We're gonna ask for other research programs to be on watching, so that way they understand and help these guys out to get it into every VA clinic and every doctor's office around the world. And that's what needs to happen.
Yep.
So Jimmy,
Beautiful.
let's go ahead
Yeah.
and get on with y'all's research.
Yeah. Can I bring up this slide?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Do I have the controls on my end, or do you have to make
No,
that
you
happen?
you you should be able to show it up on your end.
Okay. Is that just share content?
It should.
Okay. So only the host. It says only the host can do it right now.
Only the host can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Uh,
and I did send it to you.
yeah. Under the go for illness, and
Yeah.
let's see if the producer can bring it up for us and everything.
Yeah.
But kind of
Yeah.
elaborate about what y'all are going
Okay.
through.
Yeah. It was, by the way, it's only 3 pages, and I did send it. So let me know if you're able to flash that up, because it just serves as a good guide to follow. But essentially, what Nova Southeastern University is got going on today, and I say today because it's post the COVID challenges, which tended to distract from the ongoing research and throw us off of balance, so to say, because we still wanted to keep doing the research, and our research is DoD as well. And they also said, "Hey, you guys got to figure it out," is what they told us. And so Dr. Klein is down there at Nova Southeastern University, and she runs an organization called the Institute for Neuroimmune Medicine. And what she came up with is, well, why don't we do this virtual? And of course, what the hell is that? Virtual research? What's going on there? Well, virtual in the way that we still screen our participant potentials. So us, Persian Gulf War veterans, will screen you. We screen you for inclusion and exclusion to the research. We have to do that because we have to be cognizant of what you're already taking in medication. Why do we have to be cognizant of that? Because we may introduce a, a nutraceutical, a vitamin, if you will, a supplement, a very powerful vitamin. And if we don't understand what's going on with your body, then we introduce this vitamin, this supplement, it could fog our signaling. So I want to put out somewhat of a disclaimer in that if Bacopa is what it's called, if this Bacopa doesn't work for you because it conflicts with something you're already doing or taking, don't don't be bothered by that, because we have follow on. We have something called NAC and one called NR. These are nutraceuticals. So a nutraceutical is a fancy medical term, and I'm not medical. I just want to be very clear with everybody. I'm a war fighter, man. I'm a ground guy. All right. So but I've learned this. I've been doing research for 7 years now. I've been associated with Dr. Klimas for 7 years. 2 years as a volunteer, and then 5 years on her team as a part-time employee. So this idea of a nutraceutical, Bacopa, that's Bacopa, Bravo Alpha Charlie Papa Alpha. Um, it's on the shelf, actually, on the shelf at drugstores, not department stores, but grocery stores. You can find Bacopa, but the Bacopa we're using is pharmaceutical grade, high grade stuff, and it's a nutraceutical that's fashioned to help us with the chronic fatigue syndrome side, the cognitive side, the fog, forgetting stuff, having trouble completing sentences, that kind of stuff, which is, I mean, you talked about what effects we can expect. So I always set expectations. My best expectation is quality of life, Kevin. It's always quality of life. Give me quality of life. Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this, Jimmy.
Yeah.
How does this? So how is this? This come in the form of a pill, in the form of a powder? How does it?
Good
How is
question.
it delivered?
Excellent question. So again, once you're onboarded into the program, we're going to send you a box. We call it a kit. Inside that kit, there are blood vials, there's spittoons, it's literally spit in, there's freezer pack, instructions. And what we do is we take this kit to the closest laboratory. Now, that's a little bit of work. We use Quest down here in the South. The names may change as we move across the nation. You take this box, and the lab folks follow instructions are basically to get a baseline of blood from us, and that goes back critical care FedEx back to our laboratory here in Fort Lauderdale, Davie, Nova Southeastern University. We will then send you in a pill form Bacopa. It comes in a capsule. It's that because it is research, it's a double-blind randomized research study. So it's, we're participating in research, clinical research. We need research because this is where we derive the answers that the DoD is asking for. What the hell causes this, and how can we start treating it? We're kind of hitting two things there, because if Bacopa does show positive effect, we're already on to something. So it could be a matter of adding it to the formulary at the VA. One of my dreams is that all this research, like CoQ10 is another one that's come through, one of these nutraceuticals being prescribed through your primary care doctor at your VA. Well, these are the steps to get there. It's a 12-week program, double-blind, randomized, and what we're doing is through surveys, we're going to send you a bottle. You tell us, we're going to ask you, hey, how do you feel? Any different? What's going on? We're going to ask you different variations of questions about your experience with this Bacopa. You'll go through the 12 weeks. We're mixing it up, randomizing the nutraceutical, and then at the end of the time, at the end of the 12 weeks, things are concluded. Because it is research, we're not going to go publish because we're still gathering intelligence on it. We're still gathering information on it. Does that answer the question? I know.
Yeah. But
sometimes I feel like I'm like
right. But I also know with that though, Jimmy, is
yeah,
that's the one. This is the research that Nova's doing that I wasn't able to do because of renal kidney disease.
Okay, that's a great example.
Right, and so there are people who are not going to be able to take part in this if they have renal kidney disease. I believe also liver and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yes. Yeah, good. That's a great example. But it's
if I remember right, I remember reading about that. I don't know if this was pre-COVID, maybe right after post-COVID, when this one was published, that they were started recruiting.
Yeah. That one was CoQ10.
No, for this Bacopa, however you say it. When I was looking at like the exclusionaries for it, there was the list of medications for exclusionaries was pretty extensive. One of the big one that I saw on there, if I remember right, levothyroxine for thyroid issues. I can't pull it up, but that's just what sticks in my head on that particular one.
Good.
I think I actually commented on. I am the asshole, and I mean, we just obviously, just so people know, me and you just met. I'm playing devil's advocate because I do a lot of research.
Yes.
But I do remember levothyroxine was on that list for exclusions, and I think I remember commenting on the site when they posted it that it's going to be very hard for recruitment on this particular one because of everything that excludes you from it. Who are you going to get to participate in the study? Given the list of medications, given our age, given the number of medications that the Go4 vets are on. So I would not knowing, obviously we just met, not knowing your recruitment, your participation rate, I'd probably say it's probably a fairly low, probably at a low percentage right now, and probably not near where you thought you'd probably be at this point.
Well, and thank you for that. And don't hold back. Please don't hold back.
Well,
We
hey,
won't.
no, I'm here to help. I mean, if I could be there, I'd be there tomorrow. You know,
Hey,
but I mean,
and that's the cool thing. You wouldn't even have to travel. We
well,
will
right.
send this,
That'd be the best thing.
which is
Well, I
the
don't know. I'm
best
coming to
thing.
Fort Lauderdale. It's got to be
Yeah.
better than DC.
Yeah. Especially DC is freaking cold there. Yeah.
Love you,
And
Hoover. You're listening.
yeah. And you bring up the points, and please don't hold back, because this is the sort of information that brings us together, the veterans, because we're the center of gravity here. This is about us. If you don't have Persian Gulf War veterans, you have no research. I remind all the leaders of that every single time I'm in a room with them. But this is a little bit more to answer that question directly. So we're looking at 264 participants. That's a high number to go through the process. Yes, Persian Gulf War veterans, 33 years downstream. So think about it. If you were a young buck, 18 years old, on the battlefield in 1991, guess you just hit 50. You just hit 50. So then I'm thinking, who were on the other side of the spectrum? Well, Norman Schwarzkopf, this 4-star general, but he's gone. He died. God bless his soul. He's gone. So
We can look at Lloyd Austin.
You've got the Air Force counterpart. He's still running around. Age there. Some of those guys are now at the age where they cannot participate in research. So this is kind of maybe somewhat helpful about research. In clinical research, you have to be a Persian Gulf War veteran that is somewhat better, somewhat healthier. Maybe some of the 50-year-olds it may apply to, maybe some of the 60-year-olds, and in between. And I get it. It's called a comorbidity when we have conditions that keep us from doing research. And we do come across comorbidities. But this is the cool thing about comorbidities. If there's to be a cool thing, we have Persian Gulf War veterans. And that's, let me be very, very clear. 1990, 1991, Persian Gulf War, Desert Shield, Desert Storm. This is the participants we're talking about. 700,000 of us deployed. Out of that 700,000, the Institutes of Medicine said that about 1 in 3 of us suffer chronic multi-symptom illnesses, about 250,000. So recruiting 264 should not be a big deal, but it is challenging because we have comorbidities, whether they're age-based, based on our Gulf War illness condition, or based on a multitude of health issues. Again, we are 33 years post-deployment. The challenge is that we have to go through every single one. It's one veteran at a time. That's how meticulous research is. And we'll bring out in this conversation how that benefits us in benefits and knowledge, because it is all about us being smarter about what's going on with our body and then making decisions. The doctors know that we, the veteran, are going to be the ones making the ultimate decision. But hang in there, because yes, you're right. Some of the comorbidities could preclude us participating, but what's coming right behind it? The GWIC tick. So we have a consortia, Gulf War Illness Clinical Trials Intervention Consortia. That consortia is a group of doctors, Boston University, the RISKs, Palo Alto RISK, New Jersey RISK, Dr. Helena, West Ashford. We have a Cornell researcher. We have a Houston-based researcher. What's coming right behind us, and this is an argument for in it to win it, participate, is because what's coming is a test that would just take your blood. Blood sample can tell whether your body can metabolize certain agents. I'll give an example, one that you brought up. Can your body metabolize sarin, for example? This is kind of goes along with Dr. Haley's findings. Yes or no? It's, can your body metabolize a full strength battlefield grade sarin? If it can, then you're a control. You're one of very few people that say, I'm perfectly fine. although I'm 60 and I got 60-year-old problems, I'm perfectly fine. But then there's those that cannot metabolize it. If you cannot metabolize it, you're presumed. That's a presumption. That's a presumption, man. You were there and you can't metabolize, you're presumed to have golf wellness. But I have some really good news about that. Yes, sir.
So Jimmy, if a person, let's say a person such as Wade, who doesn't mind and wants to partake in this sort of research, you spoke earlier, said it was a 12-week ordeal, right? Okay,
Right.
so let's say, hey, John wants. I raise my hand and say John wants to do this. From the time I connect with you folks, how long? What's the turnaround time? How long does it take to determine yes, he or she is a candidate? That's the first question. And the second question is, because these researchers are provided funding to do this, as in a lot of people might say, if I'm providing myself the guinea pig, if they're getting paid to do this, well, then there should be something put in my back pocket, even though the ideal situation is, hey, I just want to feel better. Okay. Whatever you come up with, I want to feel better. But you're making money by doing this one way or another. What does a person who he or she put on the line? What is there? Is there some monetary kickback to the individual?
You're not getting no money, John. You're not getting no money.
I'm just asking. I don't know if I don't ask, right? I mean,
trust me, you are not getting no money. Matter of fact,
somebody's getting money. Somebody's making money.
They're making their wages. That's how they make their living, is to study this. Yes, to help the veterans. This last trip to Sarasota, I'm negative. I'm going back to Sarasota. I'm going to be even more negative. But the coordinator that I'm going to see from the grant money is how she makes her paycheck.
Okay, so now Jimmy, now that was Wade answering the question. Now Wade or Jimmy, now you can answer the question. Is that the same answer? There's zero in it other than knowing.
No. There's stipends. There are stipends. So let me try to go back in the right order. I can't speak for Sarasota. I mean, I know Ross Camp Institute is up there in Sarasota, and I can comment somewhat on that. We're doing at Nova, some of Ross Camp's work, but at Nova Southeastern University, Dr. Klimas and her team are employees of Nova Southeastern University, and they're paid by Nova Southeastern University. The grant money that comes from congressionally directed medical research program and the DoD is 100% sunk into the research. These guys run laboratories. They run gas mass spectrometers that cost $8 million. There's equipment, these kits, laboratory work, back office work, administrators, social media. The only way, and I mean, Kevin, you'll be able to tell us. We reach out. Nova reaches out to our podcast influencers. They know who Kevin is. They're going, this gentleman is, out of the kindness of his heart, runs this operation. And if you haven't heard from us, you will hear real soon from us. And then to dive directly into the question, John, is there are stipends available. It's a far cry from what it should be. We understand and I agree. We do go through those funds and we refresh those funds, but it all means, let's do this. You're interested. Let's say you want to do a screening for us for Nova Southeastern University. I can footnote in here that John wants stipend, and his condition is that he be provided a stipend for his efforts. It's not a big ask. It is your time. I'm with that. And that is a part of the budgeting that is done by the researchers, John. They have to.
No,
but think about
this. I appreciate that. I don't want people to think, don't get the misconception that this is all about money for John. I'm just asking the question. A lot of people are thinking.
No, it's fair.
Just, the bottom line is, we all want to feel better. We all, male or female, we just want to feel better. And we understand it takes some study. They've had over 30 years, as you know, to get this done. I'm just asking the question that other people are thinking it. And I'm not, this isn't about, I'm going to make some money. That's really not what it's about. It's just, it is my time. Even if I got to stay at home, okay, I want to help. I want to learn. I want to feel better. It takes some of my time. And, is there even a mild compensation? It's just a lot of people are thinking it. I just asked it. It isn't about the money for me. It's just a question.
Well, with Haley's with Haley's research, let's just say this though. With Haley's research, he came out it was sarin gas. I don't believe it was sarin gas. My thing is I don't want to die by the time I'm 60 years old because of what we were exposed to. I want to be able to walk. I want to be able to function as a normal human being and not suffer all the time, just like every other vet out there. And so, I mean, the DOD, the researchers, the doctors, everybody needs to be on the same page. That's just me. Because if we're not on the same page, every year it goes by, it feels like that something else is creeping up on us. And I don't, I just don't want some
damn thing.
strange ass cancer that they're going to say, well, it was the Gulf War, but we don't know where it's from.
Very fair. Very fair. And Dale, to your argument, you could you could be talking to a researcher and they'll tell you, well, no, we don't have a stipend, or we ran out of a stipend. That's something for you to consider. There is absolutely nothing wrong with saying, yo, man, what's in it for me? I mean, I've got to take these sugar pills and it's my time. I have family here. I run a household, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a very fair expectation. And
now, John, remember, John,
guys,
I used to be the one that used to bitch about. I said I'd never do another study unless there was money involved, and I said travel funds. And that's all I asked for was travel funds.
That's very fair.
DC was paid for. DC was exceptional. They did an exceptional job for that. I will 100% give them to that. But for instance,
is that the risk, or is that
American University?
American University. Okay.
Cool. But like just for instance, for Ross Camp, for last month, everything they give you a set amount per visit at Ross Camp, and they're completely upfront. The only reason I did Ross Camp is they needed one last person to fill their OEA study, to finish their study, one last fly. So I said, yes, I will do it.
Yeah.
So they paid a set amount. We fit 2 visits within the time frame that I was there, so I got paid twice.
Okay.
Now, just to give you an example, I'm going back the first week of March, which is spring break in Florida, for a 1-hour visit. I've got to be there 3 nights at my expense. I'm flying down 3 nights to be there for 1 hour.
No.
So I will get paid my one-time stipend. But now, so yes, I feel going a little bit over and beyond.
Yeah.
For their study. But
I agree.
Is spring break at that time though?
What?
Spring break? Is it spring break at that time?
I wish I could.
So you're really not going to be concentrating on the study too much. Your mind's going to be elsewhere.
I wish I could tell you a good lie, but where I'm staying at is about 6 miles from any beach, because everything is about $400 a night.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is outrageous.
Sarasota is.
But I want to get back to like
the
research.
Thank you for breaking that down.
Yeah, one of the problems I think that I have with the researching is that I really can't do a whole lot of them when it comes to vitamins. I mean, I eat better, I do better, but because my kidney functions are the way that they are, they don't want me to do that. So how do we get into how do we fix that situation?
I mean, you're drawing a hard line there for anything that you would consume, anything consumable. So any of the nutraceuticals is going to be a challenge, because it's kidney, it's kidney breakdown, it's kidney function. Your doctor, your primary care, your specialty care is probably saying, stay away from any of that. What you're waiting for, Kevin, is that blood test in research. But I've got some good news for this group, guys. Because good news, I'm real critical. You guys would be very surprised. My message to the folks that I sit in rooms with is, what's in it for me? Why am I getting out of bed? I err on your side of the sentiment and go, what do you want from a Persian Gulf War veteran? It's 33 years ago. What do you want? And whatever it is that you want specifically, then I need you to turn that into a set of words and instructions and guidance so that we can get this information out. This is where the virtual studies came from. This is how they figured out the kit. Send it by mail, do the surveys. Dr. Klimas says, is that good, Jimmy? Yes, it's good. We've talked about the stipend, travel pay. I mean, you've got tolls, you've got gasoline, you've got airplane. And I know, Dale, it's freaking expensive, but up and down both of these coasts. Over there where Nova is, it's Fort Lauderdale, bro. That's $300, $400, $500 a night. No. And on the other coast, it's the same thing because it's the coast. And then spring break, they throw $200 premium on that. So you're not going to be you may see some fireworks out in the horizon. But to answer your question, Kevin, I mean that's rock solid. There is the blood test. If you want to participate in research itself, this is the closest you're going to get is as an advocate. Now, I know you're pretty downstream with Gulf War illness and your VA recognizing you. But the Institute, I'll take a step back, not the Institute, but the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, in March, next month, are convening a group that comments on ICD. It's a statistical code, ICD. And the ICD this time, we know there's an ICD for chronic fatigue syndrome. We know there's an ICD for fibromyalgia. Right. We know there's an ICD for IBS, intestinal or IBS and GERD and any other functional gastrointestinal problem. Those three are, the VA also refers to those three as the presumptives. Jimmy, the presumptives for what? That's not a medical word. We presume that if you were over there and you've got medical problems post-deployment, we're going to presume that you have Gulf War illness. Where's the evidence? The evidence is built around the chronic multi-symptom illnesses and all those three. But there's still a problem. Who brings it together? Right. Who takes those three ICDs and shows them, do some doctor shit, damn it. Bring those together. And that's what the ICD for Gulf War illness does. ICD for Gulf War illness.
So there is one coming.
They're meeting, and I'm going to be a little careful here. They're meeting in 2 days. It's on my sheet there, Kevin, if you're still working on getting that thing up on the screen, because I'd like for the group and then anybody else.
I'm going to put it up. We'll have it up.
Okay, very good. There's the dates. There's two meetings, an AM, PM, and they're taking care of the central time. And we're invited, but we have to register early. We're all invited. We can go and we can comment and we can listen. So we will see what the Centers for Disease Control arrive at for the ICD. But that's that meshing it. And what that means, so big deal. What's that mean, Jimmy? What that means is that you can now go to your doctor, your primary care doctor, patient-aligned care team, those folks, nurses, doctors. That's if you go to a healthcare system. If you go to a VA healthcare system, that's another fancy way of saying hospital, real hospital. Yeah. You don't go to a healthcare system, then you may be participating in a CBOC, Charlie, Bravo, Oscar, Charlie, community-based outpatient clinic. CBOCs are not fully staffed for our stuff. They could try, but they've got to get you to specialty care elsewhere, somewhere else in the Veteran Integrated Service Network. You may have to drive there. The VA is good about stipends.
So here's a question, Jimmy. Okay, yeah. So like I said, if there's a guy or a gal that wanted to participate in things, I know there's let me rephrase this. I'm assuming, because Wade and I and Kevin and I and some others have talked, okay, we all have this Gulf War illness issue.
Yeah.
We know there's currently and likely in our lifetime no fix, okay? We understand that we've all tried several things. Wade shared things with me. Kevin shared things with me. I've tried. Some things work great. Some have a sustainability to them. Some not so much. Most, as Kevin has often said, most of them is a Band-Aid. In other words, it's only going to work for a short period of time. That being said, a person goes through this study. Say, yes, I volunteer. Let's say that they start to feel better. Now, all of us want to feel better. We would all just as soon go back to the times when we didn't have any damn problems, okay? Love to go through life without the issue. But that being said, there are people out there, and I'm not going to sit here and lie. I say, okay, what happens if whatever it is that your research group helps me, my name gets to the VA, and they say, oh, this individual's feeling better. Wade was shaking his head. I think he knows where I'm going with this. Is that, okay, now they say that I'm feeling better, so they're going to yank benefits from me to a degree. That's a lot of people's mindset. What's the plausibility of that sort of thing happening?
Well, you know, John, you're asking a multi-tier sort of question.
Yes, I know.
You look,
I know.
But it's fair. No, look, between all of us, and I told you, do not hold back. But let me.
And I'm not.
But what I can share with the group, and Kevin, you know, Kevin and I have a relationship. We have a friendship born on just laying these challenges out and somewhat analyze, evaluate, and arrive at an independent determination, man. I can't arrive at an independent determination because I don't work for the VA, and that's actually the VHA, the veteran. Well, it's the VBA, which is Veterans Benefits Administration, is the ultimate owner. But let's go. But I can analyze and evaluate. First of all, if you're participating in GWIC-TIC, Nova Southeastern University Institute of Neuroimmune Medicine, your Privacy Act, your HIPAA, this does not go beyond that.
Okay.
We don't report.
All right.
It's
okay. It's a big deal, Jimmy. I know a lot of people are thinking
it.
But hold on. I want to add in on this. If it works for me, you can take my damn disability away.
Well,
if it helps me, you can take my damn disability away.
I totally
if I can wake up every day and my feet don't hurt or the numbness is gone and all this, you can take my damn benefits away. I don't care. Because number one, I can still work. I can get out there. I can push like I used to. I mean, I have never thought in my life I would ever want to retire from work. Well, I can tell you right now, the way I feel, I want to retire from work. But, you know, I know if they don't come up with something, I'm going to have to eventually.
Yeah. That's compensation and pay doesn't even work that way. That's CFR federal law stuff, and
it's the devil's advocate.
It is a devil's advocate. I understand that, but
it's cool. Let's unpackage it. You know why? Because if the belief that there is a pathway between the VBA and the pathway between research and the VBA, if you feel that, there's probably thousands of others that believe that. And why not have a conspiracy theory? Because this is what grows doubt. I was promised I'd be taken care of. I raised my right hand, swore to defend, bear arms in defense of my country, with the expectation that you would take care of me. You, the DOD, and when I'm no longer with DOD, you, the VA. You were. This is something I was promised, and this is the reality, gentlemen. The reality is, for well over a half a century, we have been deploying to foreign lands, only to return with the illnesses and the bullshit and the
Amen.
It's no mystery to the VA. The VA knows this. You don't have to be a historian. Flip a couple pages back. This is the way it goes. Rewind 60 years. How about Vietnam? How about Agent Orange? Agent Orange is the technical term is dioxin. Jimmy, what the hell's dioxin? It's a herbicide. Jimmy, what the hell's a herbicide? A herbicide is something that kills plants. Why is a plant a big deal? Because a plant is an animal. A plant replicates in 4 cells. A human replicates in 2 cells. A plant replicates in 4 cells. A human replicates in 2 cells. Dioxin is a carcinogen, and it's killing. Why is that? Why is environmental exposure such a mystery to the VA? Why do we have to go through this? Why do I need all this evidence? Yeah, there's some freaking doubt there, and you know what? We're the type of gentlemen that are going to set the record straight for them, because that's the level of advocacy that it takes. Were any of you guys in the RAC Research Advisory Committee for Gulf War Veteran Illness?
I went
The RAC was
once.
Monday.
No, I went once.
Yeah, I was on. I sat and listened to it.
I
There
went
you go,
once,
Dale.
and
Thank
the
you.
reason I don't go anymore is because I told
Yeah.
them, I said, a part of Goal for Illness, I have what is neuropathy. And that doctor stopped me in a split second. She goes, nothing that we can do for you. Well, then you don't represent me, so you can kiss my ass. I'm done. That's how I felt.
The fourth presumptive, so chronic fatigue syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, fibromyalgia. The fourth one is based on the secretary of the VA and whatever else he determines. It's a placeholder. Whatever else he determines as a presumptive for Gulf War. The neuropathy is something that they check at all of the risks. All of them are doing it. I went to the DC risk. They all do it, and they incorporate it into our records. It's a factor. It needs to be documented. Is it a presumptive today? Neuropathy? No. Is it what they consider chronic multi-symptom illness? No. But I will show you in that 3-page slide presentation where pain is included. And we have to be careful, gentlemen. This is what we have to be careful about. We have to be careful. Have you guys ever hear the barracks lawyer? Guy tells you all this
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. And that's true. I mean, it
And he
is
doesn't
true.
know. He doesn't know jack. He doesn't know
Get on
jack.
Facebook any given day.
And
Yeah.
Wait, good point.
and this is the deal. I am not the ultimate authority, but again, I can analyze and evaluate. I have that gift, and I have that much exposure. And what I can do is, working together, we can raise that bar to the point where we're better represented. We must be better represented for ourselves and our families, and the representation is communicated to the DOD or the VA. And Kevin, thank you for sharing with your experience with the RAC. I go to all of them. I listen very carefully to my compadres. What are the Persian Gulf War veterans feeling? What are they saying? What can we do better? Because it's input back to research group that everything I experience, I take it right back to Dr. Klimas, because I meet with her monthly. I meet with her and I say, the veteran sentiment is, Dr. Klimas, is these things. And these are the sort of things that if they can't get it past the RAC, we're just a research institute. We don't stand a chance.
And I tell you what, Jimmy, Jimmy, kudos to you, brother. You have done a phenomenal job at answering my questions, because I know a lot of people are. I'm the guy that asks a lot of questions, because I'm sure I've had people when I was able to work get a little annoyed because I'm asking the damn questions that everybody's thinking they're just not doing. And it's like, hey, it's called simple communication. I'm not a mind reader, and if I'm thinking it, other people are thinking it.
Absolutely.
I mean, that I'm special. We all want to feel better. Guy, gal, we just want to feel better. We understand it takes research. Now, some people can get on the pissy side. Well, you've had over 30 years and they figured out COVID. Well, and I can't go into that on this, but the bottom line is we've got a lot of things going on. We've got a lot of things going on in our systems, and we all want to feel better. And you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And Wade shared some things. I know there's certain things that I know if I don't do, I'm not going to hardly get out of bed in the morning.
Sure.
But I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this though, John. And
yes, sir.
Believe it or not, my neuropathy was covered under Gulf War illness as a presumptive.
As a presumptive.
Because
so they wrote it in.
Only reason it is because, and I want everybody to listen to what I'm saying. When you go get your B12 checked, and your B12 you can't hold it in, or vitamin D, and because that's a presumptive is the B12, because the spores are burned off. That was a presumptive, which made my neuropathy a presumptive. My B12 got all the way down to 70. And them doctors started panicking. They couldn't figure out what was causing it. It took them 8 years. 8 years to figure out what was going on with me. And till this day, I mean, kudos. I got all brand new doctors. And I would say out of the 10 specialists I have, eight of them eight of them are now studying Gulf War illness. And
really?
and my
Interesting.
I love my kidney doctor. She's one that's like, let's talk. And so she watches the program. She sends vets to come talk to me.
Okay. So cool. So I need to unpackage that. Let me. Was there any reference to the Kansas case definition in that? Because as we move between the presumptives, chronic multi-symptom illnesses, and then the Kansas case definition.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, thank you. And I got that on my.
Yes.
It's on my third page. Please, is your son back there? Man, I'll do push-ups for you.
And I believe renal kidney disease should also be considered a presumptive. Under there.
When we get to let me get into that topic accurately. This is a little bit differentiated. You know that if you're diagnosed with cancer, you're automatic, right? Automatic, 100% service-connected, disabled, automatic. So Vietnam era, we have all these carcinogens coming from dioxin. I mean, their presumptive list, I don't know if you've ever looked at it, like over 21 cancers, carcinogen, oh my gosh, it's just, and they're still, we had a veteran from Vietnam come into one of our RAC meetings, about 3 of them back, and wow, I was just like, you have slipped through the cracks, sir. You have somebody is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. 60 years, 1963, man. Operation Ranch Hand, freaking Vietnam War. Are you kidding me? Imagine what doctor's that has seen that veteran. What is that doctor's argument, complaint, bullshit? Anyway, let that go. The things that we see irregularly are the neurodegeneratives, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, Lou Gehrig's, dementia. You get into that world, you're automatic. Needless to say, you've got a really big challenge. One of the things that drives me every single day in what I do with advocating for Gulf War illness is that's one of those things that it scares the shit out of me. And that's why I believe in research. That's why I believe in everything that I'm doing is a mitigating any discussion about a researcher saying, look, we have found onesies and twosies. I don't even want to hear that shit. I want zerosies. Because when we start talking about neurodegenerative, we're in big trouble, man. We're in big trouble. And another thing that, and Dale, I like that you mentioned Dr. Haley. We're all on a spectrum. The spectrum for Gulf War illnesses, and remember, just a few years ago, this was called Gulf War syndrome. My gosh. So whatever, it's like we've evolved. But when you start talking about this spectrum, you've already passed away. You've already passed on. Rest in peace. You're dying. You're on your deathbed. You're dying. There's a big middle where we're dealing with the classic presumptives. And these are, by the way, that's a VA identifies those presumptives. We use it as a benchmark because veterans cannot explain to us what's going on in their body. That's another thing that I like about research. It helps us understand what are the labels that go on with what I'm feeling. Because I can't explain. Think about that.
That's a really good point. Now, Wade, I think Wade, the last week when you and Kevin were on, I was sick. Wade, you were talking. I think, or no, maybe it was the time before. I was talking about how I was asking for prednisone because after I had gotten pneumonia, and I said, "Listen, this shit works for me." But you were because you're the guy. Hey, I'm the guy that reads all the fine print, and I'm like, okay. And there's all this bullshit that goes on with prednisone, but I'm like, why the bloody hell? That was the best I've ever felt. I had energy. I understand it's a steroid, but it's one of those things where this information that we toss back and forth, it's huge to all of us veterans because what works for one, as you know, Jimmy, doesn't necessarily work for the same guy. And
Correct.
Wade, you know that.
Correct.
Kevin knows that.
Correct.
And all of
Correct.
us, we just want to feel better, you know?
Yes.
And my goodness, is there ever such a thing as a magic pill? And I know I've heard Wade use that terminology. We're never going to find the magic pill, but we can find something that maybe help us a little better, you know,
Quality
whatever.
of life.
Like
Quality of life.
exactly. Quality of life. I
Quality of
don't want
life.
to, heaven forbid, we come down with cancer. Let's talk. Can we talk ever so briefly about the terminology that called presumptive? And I know this isn't having to do with research,
Great.
but Jimmy, I think you were with Kevin before I became part of the podcast.
Yeah.
What is the terminology of presumptive in my military mind? I think if I have something called presumptive, that means that I should automatically, if I got an issue, I was there, it's presumed that it's because of that, and I should get some sort of benefits. Can you elaborate on that, whatever your thinking is on that?
Good. That's good. That's good. One step back. So we can have expectations. You know, I wake up in the morning with expectations. I expect that the definition of taking care of me as a combat war veteran, a ill combat war veteran, my expectation is quality of life. Okay, that could just be Jimmy. That's my least common denominator. Damn it! For everything I do, for those trips down to the VA, for what they introduce as quality of life, and it's very broad. It could be Tai Chi, it could be chiropractic, it can be fibromyalgia modalities, stretches, that sort of stuff. Vitamins, definitely a quality of life modality. CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. ACT, acceptance commitment. I know some of us tend to be a little headstrong, but please analyze and evaluate. The mental health part of it is a strong part of it because it'll help us cope. Because sometimes things can get very dark when you're ill and in pain.
Yep.
It's very dark, and we need those mental health modalities. I know they're very difficult for some veterans, but ladies and gentlemen, please participate in the mental health interventions. They may be good. They may piss you off. I mean, I went to those with Vietnam veterans in the room, and sometimes it was frustrating, but I really just said, dude, it's not about you, it's about us. And when I listened to their cognitive behavior therapy and their acceptance commitment therapy challenges, dude, man, Vietnam, man, my God.
I agree.
Oh my God. But so again, that's kind of a baseline for us. And maybe, you can screw you, Jimmy. That's your philosophy, whatever. Okay. But just filter it through, analyze and evaluate. You might be able to determine that Jimmy's full of shit and I'm not going to buy that. But just think about because it helps me. It's one more step out of the bed and into the bathroom, into the kitchen, and I might go stick my nose out the front door, as long as it's not cold.
Well, we got about 5 minutes left, so
okay. So 5 minutes. So John, excellent. Presumptives, the titles on my. I have 3 pages that I submitted. Kevin's got those, and there's a hyperlink to the VA.gov big ass hyperlink that goes through and explains the presumptives. It explains that if you, the veteran, are experiencing these conditions post deployment to 1990, 1991 Persian Gulf War, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, then you are presumed to have Gulf War illness, and you should be informing your patient-aligned care team. If you don't have a patient-aligned care team that doesn't understand that 2 sentence, because they were 9 years old when we were in the war, they don't freaking know. They don't know.
Yeah.
There is a link, sir. There is a link there, and this is what I suggest. Go to that link, and right in the middle of that link, there's one of those QR codes too. It takes you deeper. Print it. Make sure you have that va.gov in the link or in the margin down there, and give that to your patient-aligned care team doctor. The doctor, and maybe a copy for the nurse if you like the nurse, if you think that they'll do something with it, and say that's your copy. That's
a good idea. That's good.
Check it out.
That's good.
Check it out.
That is a good idea.
Yeah,
but
because
go ahead.
My expectation for that is, I expect to walk out of here and in a few days get a call back from specialty care. Who? It's on the paper: neurology, gastroenterology, pulmonary, rheumatology, environmental health coordinator, or environmental health clinician. That's 6 people that I would like to get a call from. And after about 4 days, if I'm not feeling you, I'm going to go back into the blue button, and I'm going to go back into secure message, and I'm going to go, I am Jimmy Arocho, Persian Gulf War, 1990, 1990. I mean, very freaking deliberate and redundant. I deployed in that war. I have been reviewing your website and va.gov, the whole copy paste right into that freaking secure messaging. And I am being directed to contact you for these conditions that I am experiencing, these healthcare problems that I'm feeling. Period. Jimmy, jam. Submit. Now you've got a written record. You've got an official piece of mail that's heading down the pipe, and that message is going to hit 3 freaking desks: primary care nurse and a admin/clinical person that is responsible for making sure that the only person that can close that travel ticket, close that ticket, the veteran.
That's good. That's smart. I mean,
Dude,
and this is why I brought Jimmy back on, because he thinks way outside the box. Yeah, I think outside the box. Jimmy goes a little bit further.
We'll take it a little bit further.
And so, and like Wade said, that he's doing the research for his kids, everybody's kids, and future veterans down the lines and everything else. But this is before we go into the after the show, which stay on the line, Jimmy, because we're going to go after the show. But before we do, everybody put it on your calendar. March 4th.
March 4th.
4 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be a Monday. We're going to be at Ergo. Okay? And y'all are going.
Whoa.
Yeah, y'all are going to have to see what they have. And it will also help veterans to say, hey, we want this. We want to see this. We need this more. And I mean, I know Jimmy's hyped up about it. I'm really hyped up about it. But also, if y'all need to get a hold of me at Kevin Simon at Gulf War Side Effects. Don't forget to like us and share us on Facebook, and also subscribe to YouTube. Share it. Our YouTube page is building. I love it. It needs to get more up there so we get this out further. So if y'all, I want to thank you, Jimmy, for coming on. I want to thank everybody for listening. We had a big crowd tonight who were listening and chatting. I will put in the comment section a little bit later up on the Facebook page everything that Jimmy was talking about as far as the paperwork and the studies and all that stuff. But thank y'all for listening. And Wade, John, Jimmy, thank y'all for being on the show tonight.
Right on, brother.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Next week, John, it's going to be about neurological disorders. That's what the podcast is going to be on. It's going to be a big thing. So y'all have a great night. Thank y'all for listening.
I'll give you